Everyone remembers the man who took 20 years to come home. Almost nobody asks how a 19-year-old queen kept that home alive while 108 men ate through it. This is Penelope. No sword, no ship, no goddess carrying her across the sea. Only a loom, a lie, and a kingdom that assumes patience is weakness. Before Ithaca, she is a Spartan princess, daughter of Achilles. Suitors race for her hand. Odysseus wins, but her father asks the newlyweds to remain in Sparta. Odysseus gives Penelope the choice. Stay with your father, or leave with your husband. She lowers her veil and follows him. It is the first decision the poems remember as entirely hers. In Ithaca, they have a son, Telemachus. For perhaps 1 year, Penelope has the life she chose. Then Helen is taken to Troy. An old oath summons Greece, and Odysseus must sail. He tries to escape by pretending madness. The ruse fails. Penelope watches him leave while holding a baby too young to remember his father's face. The war lasts 10 years. News arrives as rumor. Troy still stands. Achilles is dead. The Greeks have vanished inside a wooden horse. Then Troy burns, and every wife begins counting sails. Menelaus returns. Nestor returns. Odysseus does not. In an age without messages, absence has no shape. He may be delayed. He may be imprisoned. He may have been bones for years. Ithaca has no king, only a queen whose authority was supposed to be temporary. Noble families send sons to court her. At first, they are guests. Then they stop leaving. They slaughter Odysseus's cattle, drain his wine, sleep with servants, and gamble with his property. Hospitality is sacred in Greece. The suitors weaponize it. Throw them out, and Penelope breaks the law they are already abusing. Their demand is simple: admit Odysseus is dead and marry one of us. Marriage transfers the throne. Choose badly, and Ithaca belongs to the hungriest man in the room. Refuse forever, and they will consume the estate until nothing remains for Telemachus. Penelope cannot defeat them. She cannot obey them. So she invents a third option: delay. She announces that she will choose a husband when she finishes a burial shroud for Laertes, Odysseus's elderly father. By daylight, she weaves. The suitors watch the fabric grow and congratulate themselves on their patience. By torchlight, behind locked doors, she unpicks every row. The Queen of Ithaca turns time itself into a textile and steals each day back, one thread at a time. The deception lasts 3 years. 3 years of smiling at men who are eating her son's inheritance, 3 years of beginning again each morning. This is not passive loyalty. It is an intelligence operation conducted in public. The palace even has informants. Unfortunately, the benefits package includes treason. One of Penelope's own maids reveals the trick. The suitors storm the weaving room. The shroud must be finished. Penelope completes it, and the clock begins again. Her son is no longer a baby. Telemachus is nearly 20, old enough to threaten the men in his house, and young enough to be murdered before he can inherit it. The suitors begin discussing exactly that. Penelope is now defending 2 lives, a missing husband and a visible son. Athena sends Telemachus searching for news. He leaves without telling his mother. To Penelope, another ship has taken another man she loves. She learns the suitors plan an ambush for his return and collapses. Not because she is fragile, but because 20 years of controlled fear finally finds a second target. Then she stands, summons the elders, and demands protection no one is brave enough to provide. This is the cruel arithmetic of her position. If she remarries, she betrays Odysseus. If she does not, the suitors may kill Telemachus. If she chooses one suitor, the other 107 families may revolt. Homer lets her hesitate because every available decision is a form of ruin. She survives not by finding a good choice, but by refusing to let bad men set the deadline. Then a filthy old beggar enters the palace. The suitors mock him. Telemachus watches him carefully. Penelope hears that the stranger has news of Odysseus and asks to meet him after dark. She has heard hopeful lies before. This one describes her husband's clothing in exact detail. Penelope weeps, but does not surrender judgment. Grief has made her generous. Survival has made her suspicious. The beggar is Odysseus. He recognizes the woman he crossed the world to reach. She does not recognize him. More painfully, he cannot tell her. The hall is full of enemies, and one careless embrace could destroy the ambush, so husband and wife sit a few feet apart, both performing roles while 20 years of longing remains trapped between them. Penelope orders the old nurse Eurycleia to wash the stranger's feet. The nurse finds a scar and recognizes her master. Odysseus silences her before she can cry out. Penelope is nearby, yet Athena keeps her attention elsewhere. The household now contains a hidden king, a son who knows, a nurse who knows, and a queen who must remain the last person protected by ignorance. That night, Penelope describes a dream. An eagle kills 20 geese in her courtyard and declares that Odysseus has returned to destroy the suitors. She understands the meaning. She also says dreams pass through two gates, horn for truth, ivory for deception. Even prophecy must be tested. Hope has lied to her for 2 decades. She will not let it become the final man who fools her. Penelope announces the contest. She brings out Odysseus's bow. Whoever can string it and fire an arrow through 12 axe heads will become her husband. It sounds like surrender. It is actually a lock for which only one living man may possess the key. She has converted a forced marriage into an identity test and placed the weapon of judgment inside the room. One by one, the suitors fail. They warm the bow with fat. They strain until their hands shake. The greatest men in Ithaca cannot even bend the absent king's weapon. Then the beggar asks for a turn. The room erupts. Penelope insists he be allowed. Telemachus suddenly orders his mother upstairs. He is taking command. For once, she obeys her son without knowing what he knows. Upstairs, Penelope hears the bow sing, then shouting. Then the doors close. The poem follows Odysseus through the reckoning. But imagine her chamber, the woman who held this house for 20 years, unable to see whether her plan has delivered salvation or slaughter. When silence finally comes, Eurycleia runs to her and says the impossible. Odysseus is home. The suitors are dead. Penelope does not run into his arms. She enters the hall and studies the stranger. Telemachus accuses her of having a heart harder than stone. But Telemachus remembers a father-shaped story. Penelope remembers the actual man and knows that clever men can wear convincing faces. Odysseus himself built the Trojan horse. If anyone understands the danger of accepting a gift at the door, it is his wife. So Penelope sets one last trap. She tells a servant to move their marriage bed outside the bedroom. Odysseus explodes. The bed cannot be moved. He built it around a living olive tree, carved the room around its trunk, and only 3 people know: Penelope, Odysseus, and the servant who helped make it. The secret is not a password. It is a life they constructed together. Only then does she cross the room. Homer compares their reunion to a shipwrecked sailor reaching land. The image is usually read as Odysseus. It belongs equally to Penelope. He survived seas, monsters, and gods. She survived waiting without becoming empty, ruling without recognized power, and loving a memory without allowing that memory to make her stupid. Their reunion is not an ending. The families of the dead suitors are already arming themselves. Odysseus has returned as husband and executioner. Athena must impose peace before Ithaca tears itself apart. Home is restored by divine command, not because 20 years of damage disappears overnight. Penelope gets her husband back. She also inherits everything the journey has made him. That is why Penelope matters now. She is not the prize waiting at the end of a man's adventure. She is the co-author of his homecoming. The loom preserves the throne. The contest returns the bow. The bed restores the marriage. Odysseus wins by disguising himself from his enemies. Penelope wins by never disguising the truth from herself. Odysseus had an Odyssey across the sea. Penelope had one inside four walls. His monsters had names. Hers called themselves guests. And when the final stranger came home, wearing her husband's face, the greatest test in Ithaca was not whether he could bend the bow. It was whether he could prove he still belonged to the life she saved. The next war begins before the Odyssey, the choice Achilles makes when he trades a long life for a name that can never die. Subscribe and meet him there.